Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth video for ART363B digital illustration. We'll be doing Adobe Illustrator. Today we'll be actually going over how to make a clipping mask. As usual, feel free to pause or rewind this video anytime if you need a moment to catch up. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and begin. So you can start off by downloading the clipping mask file from Canvas over here. Again, I already downloaded mine, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it. And for this assignment, you're going to basically be putting these three, you're going to take these three shapes and you're going to create three clipping masks using this image. So I'm going to show y'all how to make a clipping mask first, and a couple of other things to kind of think about when making a clipping mask. So first and foremost, when you're trying to make a clipping mask, it's very easy. Now you're going to go to navigate to your layers. Now, if you can't find that, you can go to Windows and Layers, and that'll open that up for you. And the first thing you have to know is that in order to create a clipping mask, you're going to need a shape. You're also going to need an image, such as this. You can also have a group of vectors, that's fine too. But basically, what a clipping mask does and how to use it is if I put a circle over this character's face, I can go ahead and select both the image and the circle. The easiest way is just to click and drag. We're going to go ahead and right click, and then you're going to go ahead and make a clipping mask. And what it will do is it'll put the character inside of the shape as sort of a frame. So you see that hole is now only revealing that part of the image. Feel free to try this out on your own. And I do want to show you a couple of other like tips and tricks, but if you need to pause the video really quick to just try this out, feel free to do so. But if you are ready, the next thing I want to show y'all is if you click on this little drop down on your layers, first and foremost, a couple techniques I want to show y'all. In order to put something in isolation mode, you can double click it and it'll be in isolation mode. It'll prevent everything else from being moved around. If you're in isolation mode, you can also click on the very top left, this arrow to go back, or the escape key. Now, you can also utilize the isolation mode here, I believe, in order to adjust things. So if I double click, it'll allow me to move the image in the background. And I can press escape to go to make it go back to normal. Now it's still moving this, and the reason it's moving this is another technique also good to know is if you only want to select the circle. So you can see my group is now a clipping mask group, right? If I only want to select the circle, I can click this little circle on the right side of the layers area, and it will allow me to move the circle. But if I click on the image below, it will allow me to move the image. But anyways, that's kind of what a clipping mask does. If you need a moment to test this out, feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, if you're ready for the next step, we're going to go ahead and start over. So I'm just going to Control Z everything or Command Z. You can also just close the file, don't save it, and just open it up again. Now, this time, we're going to go ahead and create three frames. And you can go ahead and adjust these shapes however you'd like to. I don't really care. So I would say maybe just make sure that they're not touching each other, because it will cause like some slight issues. But we're going to go ahead and create a clipping mask using these three shapes on this image. Now, there's a couple mistakes people make first when they're doing this. So the first one is some people will select everything, right click, and make a clipping mask. But what's going to happen is that it's only going to clip using the most top shape. Another thing people try doing is they will select these three shapes, right click, and make a group. And once it's a group, everything works together as a group. So what people assume is you could select these, right click, make a clipping mask, but now everything's gone. Now, the trick to actually making this work is a clipping mask. The reason why it's not working is even though like you make a group, the group still reads as three separate shapes, right? But in the same as this, if you select everything, it still works as three separate shapes. So it doesn't know which shape to use. It's not smart enough to know which shape to use in order to clip into this. So we have to trick Adobe Illustrator into thinking all three of these are one shape. To do that, you're going to select these three shapes, and you're going to right click, and you're going to go ahead and make a compound path. Now, if you don't see that over here, another way you can do it is you can go to Object, Compound Path, and Make. And once you click on that, you can see all three of these are on a layer without any drop-down menu, meaning that it's now considered one shape, even though, or one path, they're just not touching each other. Feel free to take a moment to rewind or rewatch this part or pause to try it out. Otherwise, once you have this good to go, and I'm actually going to make a copy of this because I want to show you another pretty cool demo after. We'll put this on a different layer though. Weird. Okay, there we go. We'll put this on this layer. So we'll use this one for later. So I'm going to go ahead and select these three over here. So it's a compound path, right click, and we'll make a clipping mask. Once you have this, you're basically done. You can go ahead and save it. Go ahead and submit it on Canvas or whatever the submission process is for the semester. And I do want to show one last trick. Now, what's also cool about this technique is you can make some very interesting designs. So let's just say I want to use the type tool, and then we can type in who. And let's go ahead and make this pretty big. That's taking too long. You can just, this is fine for now. We can make it even bigger later. Now, I'm going to use a slightly thicker font just to make it more interesting. So maybe something kind of like this. And what I'm going to do is now, right now, this is what we call editable font. Now, in order to take this into a shape or a path that we can edit instead, we have to go ahead and go to Object, Expand, and you're going to go ahead and expand this into an object and fill it in. This will allow us to work on it as a shape. Whereas previously it's a text, so I would have to use the font, the text tool to like edit these things, right? But now that it's going to be, let's see, a shape over here, we're going to go to Object. We're going to go ahead and make a compound path. I'm going to go ahead and expand this on top over here. And you should be able to right click these, make a clipping mask, and the image would now be inside of the text or fonts. But you can see that this is a really powerful tool because you can make a lot of really interesting designs this way. It can also help with some of the process if you want to keep things within a silhouette. But otherwise, it's basically it. You don't need this bottom part. You just need this top part to be finished with the assignment. But if you wanted to take a moment to try this out, I highly recommend it just for practice. But that's basically it. Once you're done, go ahead and save as. Always make sure to put your name in the front. Jesse underscore Pack underscore. Keep the format the same. And then you go ahead and export this as a JPEG. Make sure to submit both. And again, keep it at 5 medium, 72 CMYK or RGB. Either is fine. These are just exercises. But once you have this, you're pretty much good to go. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you all in the next tutorial.